Jam nitty gritty, you're listening to the boy from the big bad city. This is Jam High. This is Jam High.
Welcome to Who's Hot with your host, Wil Chung.
Hello and welcome to the latest UKOCR Who's Hot podcast. My name is Wil Chung and I am here, as always, with my elite OCR races. First of all, Chris Shipley. Ships, how are you doing?
Yeah, not so bad. It's good to be back from a long trip away in Hungary and back to training and that. It's nice to see everyone again.
Did you enjoy Hungary? Did you enjoy the week off you had actually as well?
I did actually. It was very nice. The true bit of Hungary that I see was beautiful. So yeah, it was a nice, chilled, relaxed holiday. Thanks.
Brilliant. And just to give a quick plug to your podcast, I listened to the last episode of Accountability Corner. Really there with you. It's really kind of heartfelt in that one, but you know, that's really good. So yeah, it's brilliant that you guys are carrying on. When's the next episode out?
So we're recording the next episode on Sunday, and that's going to be an episode all about penalties, the sort of ban system, how the penalties have changed throughout the OCR years, and then it should be released, I think, that following week. So we're going to release podcasts every fortnight just to keep people wanting more, hopefully.
And for those that haven't yet, you should be able to find them on all the ways that you download your podcast. It's Accountability Corner. Follow them on Instagram at _Accountability Corner. And also we've got our Becky, and also we've got Becky Neal. Becky, hi, how you doing? It was good to see you at the weekend.
Yes, hello. Hi, Chris. Hi, Will. It was nice to see you in person, Will, at Rood Rampage, and good to hang out with you, Chris, as well, in Hungary. And, of course, with Rafi, too. It was nice.
So we're here to talk about the review of Rood Rampage, which was race number 3 of the UK OCR series, which happened on Sunday. And it was a slightly later start, which I think is always good, an 8:45 start. For the elites, it was 2 laps of their normal race, 4.5 miles, so around about 9 miles in total. Becky, you were there. Well done on your 3rd place. We'll go through the results in a second. Just quick thoughts of the race itself.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, I mean, it was really busy. Like the whole of Team UK that had been to Euros, plus everyone else from the series basically was there. So it was just kind of random that the week before we were all in a random place in Hungary, and then a week later we were all in a random field in the southwest of England. So it's really nice that kind of the community are all on board, and everyone's kind of racing head to head frequently, and that's kind of keeping us all going. It was not easy. It was a very different race to Hungary, of course. But definitely like a classic British OCR. And really to kind of do well in those races, you've got to throw your body around a bit. So it was a bit sore afterwards, actually, even though there wasn't that much kind of hanging about. There was quite a lot of crawling and walls and mud and water, and just running through like terrain where you have to kind of pay attention. So like it's kind of demanding in a different way. So yeah, it was nice to have something different, but have everyone there still going through a different challenge together.
It was interesting. You did obviously the 2 fast, hard laps, and then you came and did a bonus round with me as well. So that was really nice. Let's go through. I'll go through the results at the top 10s, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the race and some of the obstacles. Becky, over to you, and then possibly some of the things that the highlights, especially the men's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finish. I'm sure lots of people have already heard about that. But in 1st place for the female, Josie Lloyd. 2nd place, Fedi Dekaria. 3rd place, Becky Neal. 4th, Elizabeth Brimacombe. Tamar Barkley in 5th. Laura Haywood in 6th. Cheryl Beach 7th. Libby Joyce 8th. And Louise Ferriman 9th. Shyla Duhaney in 10th. And then just quickly, if I go to the male, again, really stacked field, and we'll talk about this as well, because you talk about Hungary, but Dan Titcombe in 1st place, Morgan Maxwell in 2nd place, Jason Brunnick in 3rd, Sam Clark 4th, Das Ganella in 5th, Fergal Keeney 6th, Leo Brimacombe, who also has been on the UK OCR podcast, talk about Europe Stuff His Mother, by the way, in 7th, Finley Greenleaf 8th, Alex Young 9th, and Edward Lambert in 10th. I guess, Becky, back over to you. Just talk about how the female race went, and kind of maybe some places where possibly some positions were changing, or maybe just talk about a lot of the water and that bloody mud.
Yeah, so it was a mass start, men and women together, which I think is a bit different, does affect the women's race slightly differently. It was a pretty fast start. We went kind of straight out the gate, around the corner, and then there was a hurdle quite soon, which was quite narrow. So all the hurdles straight out from the start were actually quite busy for us to get over. So that did spread out the women a bit. Josie kind of went off at the front with Fede. Fede stayed with her for a bit longer than I did. I tried to hang on to Fede for a little while, but they were off out the front together quite early on. And then I had Ellie kind of quite close behind me for most of the race, either kind of with me on a couple of obstacles, and then kind of close enough for me to be having to run kind of hard as I can for the rest of the race. And she stayed there and ended up just behind me at the finish as well. By I think Josie won by about 3 or 4 minutes, 4 minutes maybe. And then I was about 90 seconds behind Fede. And then a couple of minutes after that was Ellie. And then Tamar was pretty much, I think, running in 5th the whole way around. Like I saw her a couple of times when I looked behind, there was a couple of switchbacks out in the fields. I think Laura Hayward actually made up quite a few places in the end kind of gauntlet of obstacles. So it was, like you said, 2 laps, but we only did the end gauntlet of obstacles on the 2nd lap. So we kind of bypassed that on the 1st lap, as well as the balance beam, which was in the woods near the start, because that was quite narrow, I guess. So then we had like a couple of walls towards the end. Again, there was like a harder one, which we all had to go over, those that were competing in this event. And I think Laura did a bit of an overtake. Kind of, she went fast through the traverse, and then fast underneath the weaver, which wasn't a weaver, that underneath the monkey bar type thing. And then there was the plate pull, like the what's it called in Spartan? Herc hoist. I think she did pretty well there to overtake. I think she was kind of running near Libby and Lou and Cheryl. Cheryl's done quite a few Spartans, I think, but Laura overtook quite a few of them, as well as Bethan. And yeah, it's obviously quite a heavy weight for some people, and there's not a pulley on there, so it kind of did actually make a bit of a difference at that point in the race.
Pure friction over the top, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not sure how heavy they were. I think the women's weights were on the left and the men's weights were on the right. But yeah, it was just how heavy it was. You had to kind of put your whole body weight into it and pull, so it wasn't simple. And then over another wall, and then over that massive van that we used the hay bales, and it was fine. The mud and the water and everything. I think it did slow us down, and we were all quite close together, it seemed, on those parts. You know, you'd see each other close behind you whilst you were in the swim or on the water pontoons. But when you're running, it kind of spread out again a bit. There was a bit of queuing for a few obstacles, which was kind of frustrating. But it's difficult when there's only so much width or lanes and things, and it didn't ruin it. I don't think it was just frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, because I think when we went out on the bonus, I was surprised how thin or kind of not wide the obstacles were. And then, did you say that actually in the first in the first race, in the elite race, there was an over-under through, but no one really noticed it was an over-under through, so everyone was basically going over those as hurdles, really? Yeah,
over those first 4 hurdles, rather than over the first hurdle, then doing over-under 3. I think that was okay, though. They're all might have been slower if we'd gone under, I don't know, and caused more of a gap unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, the pontoons had the biggest queue, I'd say, on both laps, because it's easier to do them if you can run the whole way. Because the leap between them, I find, is quite big. Like, it's my maximum leap, especially when it's moving and slippery. And then the last 2 are a bit muddy, so they were extra slippery. So yeah, you want to get that rhythm of a step, jump, step, jump. But you can't if you're stopping on it.
So did you have a lot of sorry, Will? Did you have a lot of fun runners on the 2nd lap that you had to overtake as well?
No, that wasn't really the issue. I didn't really notice that so much. I
think for the front of the elite runners, that was okay. I'm pretty sure that the kind of the normal wave that went out was about an hour later, so it gave most of the elite races enough time to get into their second lap, and
Yeah,
so
we were
not to worry.
40 minutes.
There was maybe a few towards the back of that elite wave that may have got stuck behind the front runners, but I think in general those that really wanted to go out and be competitive had missed that fun wave.
Yeah, for example, I was running in a group, not in a group, it was like a group that kind of stretched and came together again of probably like 6 men and me. So if it had been like a women's only race, it would have been just me. But then I had to queue, and then it affected how close you were to the next people and things. So with only one kind of lane, that was a challenge.
I did notice, and I think we'll come back to technical officials, but Libby couldn't do the weight, the Herc hoist. So she had 1 minute waiting there,
Penalty.
and the 1 minute penalty, and I saw her, she was just so anxious because I know Louise Ferriman was just about to come and start that gauntlet area, so you know, she saw her time just slipping by then, but you know, it was good that, you know, off she went, and she got the place that I think she deserved, to be fair. But it's always, you know, as a spectator, just to watch that gap, you know, kind of go down and kind of bit more tense. The same with we used to talk about Laura and Cheryl. I'm pretty sure Laura took her on that Herc hoist as well, and it was so everything around there was so close once they got to that gauntlet part.
That's right, and I think it was pretty close from the men as well, maybe not throughout the whole gauntlet, but certainly towards the end.
Yeah, there's a few complications from what I see as well. So, but it looked like a really, really good race, and a lot of people said it was fast and flat and a bit of a runner's course, and the obstacles were really good. So
yeah, there was this whole like jungle section in the middle as well, Chris. Well, a few sections, but it was like
section.
Yeah, it felt like a jungle. You were like totally enclosed in all the greenery.
Oh, nice.
But it was like mossy, but it was like mud, but like watery mud. And there was like a tunnel and a wall to climb over, and things to balance on, like trees and
that's good.
Other wooden structures.
I love it when an obstacle race uses a lot of natural obstacles. Just it really breaks things up, doesn't it? It's really
my body can feel that. Just like scratched knees, bruises. I've got a cut on my hand. Can't really see it.
No. Well, that's 2 weeks of racing, Becky.
I felt worse after this than Euros.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, that is after Euros, though. So you're gonna.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was. I liked it that there was lots of natural obstacles. There was, as you say, there's bits in the woods. There was balance beams, which you don't always see in obstacle races. And then there was some of those fun ones. Seesaw, one of your favorites, and then there was the ball pit thing as well. Yeah, and donuts as well. So there's lots of slightly different ones, which I wouldn't necessarily say catch elite races out, but it's just something different. You're not going to get to see those at the likes of Nuts or Spartan or Tough Mudder, but I think it brings a lot of smiles onto people's faces.
Yeah, definitely. Like those massive donuts where you have to jump off the side of the bank into one big kind of blow up circular donut, which is massive. Like there's a picture of me trying to get out of the middle, and my foot is by my head. Like that's how high it is. And so jumping from one of those to the next whilst there's somebody jumping to you, like it does take a lot of coordination and body control and like timing and everything. So it is a challenge, even if it is like a different kind of, it's not technical in the same sense that we're used to these days. But yeah, it's definitely challenging, and you really have to use all of your body and all of your effort when you're going up and down so many times. The monkey bars felt like a bit of relaxing.
Yeah, they look good.
Even the sandbag wasn't that bad. It was uphill, but it was quite light compared to other sandbags that we've done recently, and you could run down the hill at the end, and so it wasn't actually so bad.
Quite long, I thought, though. Uphill, around and down. I thought it was quite a long distance with the first sandbag carry.
Yeah, I guess similar to like the Spartan race that we had, a bit lighter.
Let's go over to the males. Just bring this up. Oh, we've already done that. So, Chris, I know you kind of alluded to the end, and I was there watching it. So Dan Tickham came in first. He's probably about 2 minutes in front of the rest of the guys. But you had Morgan, Jason, and Sam all come in pretty much neck and neck. Jason was probably just in front, going through the whole system, and for whatever reason, Jason decided to use the hay bales to get up Heaven, which is the really high transit van. I believe, and from what I've heard from from other races, that it was said that you shouldn't be using the hay bales until you're kind of the third attempt. That's what I'd heard. So he was told to get down and actually attempt the van again without the hay bales, which gave Morgan Moe the time to get up and over and kind of nick second place by actually it would be a second or 2 seconds. So it was really tight, very unlucky. And then Sam was probably only a few seconds after that. So the second to fourth, really, really tight. It was a really good race to watch.
Yeah, I sent Jason a message a couple of days ago, and he said that he had a great battle with Mo and Sam, and that they were really pushing for a good spot. And I saw the video at the end as well, and Mo had a couple of complications with the tires. He had to go back and re-go into the tires as well, and they all had a few complications on the Weaver because they weren't sure whether to go Weaver it or go underneath. But it was so close. I mean, yeah, Jason should have probably got up that. I mean, but then it's a technical official thing that they need to have on the technical officials rather than the racers. The racers did everything right, and they were racing correctly and listened to the marshals. It's just that preempt before you get to the race that you know what to do, and the marshals need to know that as well. But what a close race. Dan Titcombe, God. And I want to give a good shout out to Finley. He was, what place did he get? Have you got that up there?
6.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, he was 8th in the end.
8th, but God, I saw the start of the race and he shot off. He must have listened to what we said on the preview show to get out hard and really use that speed that he's got. It's real great racing. It was practice. Yeah, it's like trying to really get that skill coming in, and he's using it right. So no, it's a real good show from him. Must be a good boost of confidence, and he did say it's a good boost of confidence. I did message him as well.
Yeah, Das was impressed with him as well, especially on the first lap, because he kind of maintained it for longer than he thought he might, because I think he was running near him. And it was like Finley said on himself, it was his engine that he just hasn't developed yet.
Well, that's right. He's not used to that kind of distance. So,
speed over distance.
Yeah, and he said it was a real shock to him as well. So, yeah, the confidence that he's got is real high at the moment for that. So, really good result, Finley. Keep it up. It's good to see you racing well against all the adults.
Nice. Yeah, you can actually watch the end of that race unfold on Mud and Glory as well, from about 12 minutes on the video. If you want to see.
Yeah, some great. I think I might have gotten Hagen's way a couple of times. we were kind of jockeying for position to try and get some good camera angles, but no, it's great to see that actually there's more of us out there to get video, to get the photos, to really help to spread the word. Finley, he was out like a shot, and I couldn't believe it. And talking to Das later on, he said he didn't want to keep up. He couldn't keep up for that speed for that long. So he just allowed Das just allowed his engine and his endurance to go and take him later on. But he didn't want to go out that hot with everybody else. So.
It's really good to see. Really good to see. And it was the footage you guys got, and Mud Guts and Glory, and that was really good. Everyone's pace was looking good. Feddy's running like it's got such a beautiful stride. Yeah. Really, really nice. Yeah. Classic. It's good to watch. It's nice when you're sitting at home and you can't get to a race, but you still get to see it. That's what we need.
Oh, we missed you, Chris.
Oh, thanks.
But there was a VIP bib just waiting for you, Chris. We were waiting for you. But...
To be fair, I got home late and the cats needed me.
Oh, I bet you missed them, didn't you?
I did, actually. Yeah.
So there was a bit of feedback. First of all, we did talk about technical officials, and we probably could have done with a few more.
Yeah, I mean, Erica did a really good job at I think at the Weaver obstacle. They did mention on the start line that you're supposed to go under all of them, but it's really difficult on the start line to hear everything, especially when we had to go over / under the first obstacle to get to the start line, and everyone's spread out. And
none of you guys went under that obstacle. Let's be fair. We've got the video. You all just kind of strided over that fence. Don't give me that.
Yeah. So as you can see, we need to be told very clearly what we're doing, and it just wasn't possible to get a rule book out for this one at this time. That was the aim, but it wasn't possible. So we had everyone try and listen to the start line. I definitely heard the information about going under the Weaver, and I went straight to do that as I got there. But I didn't hear anything about not using the hay bale steps for the van, so that was a bit of a surprise that kind of unfolded that way. So I'm not really sure But yeah, we know what we need to do. It's just a case of actually doing it. But thank you to the kind of technical officials that did turn up, like Erica, who was helping out on that one. Just need more.
Erica and Jane were
And
helping
Jane.
out there. Yeah, and
Perfect.
I think you're right. And sometimes it's you've got race brain, haven't you? And
Yeah,
even if maybe you'd heard it, you're just kind of concentrating on something else. And I
just
think
looking for space.
more than
Yeah.
Exactly. Just a bit of other feedback on the Facebook page. So if you're a member of British Obstacle Sports, which I'm sure you are because you're part of UKOCR series, I always put a post up just to ask about whether you're going to a particular event or whether when you've been to the event, what review you have. So some good feedback here. John Paul loved it. Great race. Well organized. We'll be back next year. Tamar, a long response, but towards the end, great mix of terrain through and good variety of the simpler obstacles. The timing of the elite wave was perfect, as most managed to get onto the second lap before the fun runners started. Really good to see so many people supporting a local race, especially as a lot of us were at Euros too. Becky, that's what you mentioned, and we'll talk about what the start line looked like and how that looked like with everyone else in a second. We'll come back to that. I got another couple I just want to go through. Barry Coombs, this was a great race that introduced me to OCR back in 2016. So happy DB Max brought it back. Yes, some concerns about Marshall's on course, but I thought it was a brilliant course with great use of terrain and obstacles. I live 5 minutes away and it's only OCR for miles. I hope they return next year. We need more events like this to grow the sport. Spoke to a few locals afterwards who are now looking to try other events as a result, which is a result in itself. DB Max are pretty new to the OCR game. With a little more support, these guys can make this event even bigger and better. Loved it, as did my son. And from Dan, truly amazing. Felt sorry for people with cars with the white interior. We'll talk about the mud as well. Did the race with my 12-year-old and both of us really amazed. All the obstacles were well built with no wobble, maybe arrows on the obstacles to make it a bit more obvious whether it's over and through, which we've just mentioned. But that is the only, if that was it really, if I wanted to be fussy. As a non-swimmer, I'm horrified of water, but even enjoyed that part. Congratulations. So I guess a couple of things there. There weren't a huge amount of marshals on course. And I think when you're a new race, it's difficult to try and get people to come and volunteer straight away. But I don't know, maybe a couple more on maybe some of the other big ones. But generally it was okay, especially towards the end, Becky.
Yeah, and I mean, all the other fundamentals were really good. Like chip timing was seamless, registration worked well, sweets, medals. I even had a Pims. There was burgers.
Yeah, who was having the WKD? Was it?
Oh, Ferg in the picture.
Ferg.
Yeah.
WKD.
Yeah.
That must be an Irish thing.
It was just it was just blue cups of water in the finish. Yeah, I mean, we were pretty thirsty, and we did find out on the start line, which was perhaps too late, that we could have potentially created some kind of transition because the only water station was like halfway through the lap. Kind of felt like we needed one in the middle as well. So that might have been like one little thing, but I was like, oh yeah, I probably could have thought of that and done it, sorted out myself, but didn't. Yeah, but the marshals, there were arrows on many of the obstacles, and in fact, I saw people just not doing what the arrow said. It says go over, and they went through. So, and then the through one has the arrows like horizontally, and the over one has the arrow pointing up. Do I need to explain this thing? But yeah, we saw on the fun lap, didn't we? Some people just run past the seesaw and they go, "Oh, that was an obstacle. I thought something had blown away or something."
It's because it was facing up, wasn't it? It's kind of facing as you finish it
yourself, like upside down.
It means the obstacle is kind of facing away from people starting it, so they don't always know what to do there. Yeah, so I thought it was really good, and even the village, the small village that they had, there was the bar there was coffee, but the MC did a really good job. Because there was a timing mat just as you was coming in, just before that gauntlet, so it was able to talk about the people coming as they was coming into the kind of the Weaver or the Hurt course, which I thought was fantastic.
You heard it on that live stream, didn't you? And it was brilliant. It felt like a proper decent race. And I love that when it feels like there's so much action going on and it's being like commentated on the spot live, and it really gets you like involved.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
with the names, and also like I even heard it when I was racing. I went over that wall just before the end, and said my name and said that it's currently second in the UKOCR series. I'm like, how do you know that? But yes,
brilliant. But
well
that's what the sport needs. The sport needs the spectators to see people at the high level.
Understand,
to understand that there is a sport here.
Yeah,
really good.
Really good.
I thought that was fantastic, and I have no idea how he managed to get that. But he was saying, Becky in X and the lead series, or no. I was, but he did that for a lot of people. So even I don't know whether you was listening, Becky, but when you, me, and Das crossed the line, he was talking about that we were from UKOCR, that we had a podcast, and
two of the hosts there. This could have been you.
I know. I wish I was there. I'm always missing out. I didn't realise how famous we were.
The last thing I just want to talk about in terms of obstacles before we go into the standings for where we are for race 3 is that mud. I can't believe how it's been such a hot, sunny couple of weeks, yet they managed to get some proper natural. It wasn't just kind of piped in. This was natural mud. So Chris, if you remember the map, they've got what they termed the bog of eternal stench, and it was about half a mile as a total part from start to finish, and it was a natural stream, but it was all just so churned up. You had to crawl through the mud because there was a barbed wire crawl, so you had to get close to the mud. There was tires, so again you had to squeeze in the mud through the tunnels. It was that last part. I couldn't believe how mud it was, and again it's a real British OCR.
Yeah, I see pictures of Becky all covered in mud, and I heard Dan and Sam and Mo was all bathing in the water, getting all the mud off, and I think Dan lost his watch in that one as well. I don't know where he was putting his hands, but he lost his watch doing it. So
the bottom of the lake was not solid. Like you put your feet in it and you'd be down another foot because it was just like it felt really nice on bare feet. Like but yeah, you could just lose yourself in there. And we were like going through that bog of eternal stench, and you'd be kind of walking through it or trying to run, and then you just disappear like a foot deeper suddenly, or like below your knee or above your knee. And it's like, where did that come from? And then on the second lap, I was like leading a group, and all the men were laughing at me because I kept just disappearing. And, like, this is why you're at the front. Like, I was like, okay.
Brilliant.
All right, let's go to the standings after 3 races. Start with the females. Fedi to Nuclear Phoenix in first place with 1,345 points. We've got joint second, Becky Neal, our own Becky Neal, and JC Lloyd, 1,285 points, so only 60 points behind first place. Tamar, fourth place, 1,164. And very close behind in fifth place is Louise Ferriman, 1,128 points. So what's that, 36 points behind. Libby Joyce, 3 races, also 1,050 points. Seventh place, Cheryl Beach, 1,046 points. Shelley Tompkins in 8th place, 1,030 points. And then we've got 9th, Emma Kirkwood, 987 points. And then Elizabeth Birmingham in 10th place with 2 races at 787 points. So again, really, really tight. And what I wanted to mention is when we're talking about Rood Rampage and who might be turning up, and maybe people are tired from Euros and everything else, the top 9 all turned up for the 3rd race. So I think this is becoming it's of real interest to OCR racers, and it's also showing the commitment that many of those also went to Hungary and then also decided to turn up for this relatively small and very new race to start to get points.
Yeah, we still had other people sort of in the mix that didn't go to Hungary as well, like Cheryl and Beth Ann. I think Beth Ann does some trail running, and Ellie did well at Challenge Cup as well. So like it's not just the names that we hear about more and more. It's deeper than that, which is really exciting. I can't wait to see how the rest of the series goes.
It's getting so tight. It's getting really exciting.
Like getting in the top 10 is hard.
Yeah.
And what we'll start to talk about, Chris, is when you're back here, because you weren't here for the first series, but when you get to 4 races and then it's the strategy of racing or not racing, that's when it gets really interesting. So going over to the men's top 10, Morgan Maxwell, Rumble Racing, 3 races, 1,365 points. Jason Brunnock in second, 1,285 points. So that's only 80 points behind. Fergal Keeney in third, 1,115 points. Alex Young in fourth, 1,036 points. Very close behind. Matt Roberts, 1,025. So that's only 11 points behind. John Redman, 1,015 points. Ramuna Wickus, 1,009 points. 8th place. Edward Lampert, 1,001 points. Ryan Saban in 9th place at 981 points. And Dan Warren, 970 points. So that's just really tight. It's a really tight group of races. And again, all the top 10, and Dan Tickham actually in 11th place, 965 with only 2 races so far. But everyone's raced it. All that top 10, top 11, they've raced all 3 races so far.
And 8 in men and women over 1,000 points. Yeah. It's going to be hard to catch.
I think it's going to come to a point now where people are going to start really picking and choosing where their strength races are, especially with the next one coming up.
Well, we've also got 7 teams who have now got a full score, so with 10 races counted. So 7 teams who can be kind of compared directly. Or actually 8, but OMRM are ahead of someone else with 9. Yes.
Do you want to quickly go through those points, Becky?
Yeah, so first is Nuclear Phoenix, 4,290 points. Second is Rumble Racing, 3,905. Third is Primal Fitness, so they had a really good kind of weekend with 3,643. Then Nuclear Wild Forest in 4th, 3,544. And 5th is Team Grit, 3,486. We've got Nuts, PT Barn Racers, OMRM, OPP Warriors, and Field Fit in 10th.
So again, really tight in it, and then now it's about kind of your breadth and in-depth strength of the rest of the team too now.
Yeah, for sure.
And the next race, we're moving up to Leeds to Total Warrior for race number 4, Saturday, the 1st of July, 12K. We'll be talking about that in the preview race. But Chris, very quick couple of thoughts just about Total Warrior.
Fast. There's no other words to say about that race. It's the fastest race on the UKOCR series. It's flat. It's fast. There's not too many technical obstacles. It's just quick.
All right. Well, brilliant. Let's hold on to the preview show which will be coming soon. Chris, Becky, thank you very much for the recap of Rood Rampage, which happened. Congratulations again, Becky, for your 3rd place, and also to everybody else that managed to get back from Hungary and take on Rood Rampage. You can follow Chris, the obstacle race dude, and you can also follow Becky on Instagram at The Runner Bean UK. If you haven't already, you can also follow UKOCR across all the social media channels. That is at UKOCR, and of course British Obstacle Sports at British Obstacle Sports. My name is Wil Chung. This has been the recap race of Rood Rampage. This has been Who's Hot, and we will talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Hold me close till I get up.
Hello and welcome to the latest UKOCR.
That's supposed to laugh.
Okay.
But trust, yeah. No, I don't want to waste what's left. And
Am I meant to say something?
No. Just don't know what we're talking about next.
Oh, are we?
Don't know what we're talking about next. That would be a nice segue
Yeah, I think we're about done, right?
into the next event. Yeah.
All right. And so that takes us into the next event, which is Total Warrior. I've got, where the hell are my notes gone? Saturday, 1st of July, over in Leeds. So that's quite a difference between kind of Bristol way and moving up north to Leeds. 12K on